Work can be chaotic. Running around in the family life can be chaotic sometimes. Your group chats can be chaotic as well. But some people, they thrive in it. And guess who they are? Project managers. And today I'm going to show you how to think like a project manager, even if your title is not project management. Hey friends, welcome again to my channel. If you're new here, this is a channel where we turn your ambition into action and help you get things done. So if you've ever felt overwhelmed, you felt like you're juggling too many balls, there's so much going on around you, and it feels like, oh, there's so much I need to get done, this video is for you. Because project management is not just for the professionals. Project management can help you in your everyday life as well. So in this video, I'm going to be giving scenarios on how you can think like a project manager in the corporate space, but also outside of the corporate space, so that you can feel more in control and you can achieve better results efficiently. So here's how project managers think. First of all, they are proactive. Always scanning for what's next. What can I get on top of first, right? They're always proactive people. They are also big picture thinkers. And thinking, what does this change? What does this situation, what does this activity do, or how does it affect the overall objective of the project or the organization? Always thinking big picture. They're very organized. They turn mess into manageable activities and lead that way. And also, project managers are solution focused. They're not spiraling out of control. They're not looking for the next person to blame. They're thinking, what next? How can I solve this? How can I move this forward in spite of whatever has gone wrong or right? Yeah, always solution focused. And project managers are adaptable. They're always thinking, okay, things have changed, that's fine. Well, let's roll with it. Let's make this work. That's how good project managers think. So once you adapt the mindset of being organized, being proactive, being adaptable, being solution focused, and having the big picture in mind, everything changes. And your projects, whether it's in the corporate world or in your entrepreneurial journey or even in your family life, work better. So let's dive in and break it all down. I'm going to give you examples for each scenario and how you can use it to get yourself moving. Okay, so let's look at it from a personal perspective. First of all, let's say you need to plan a group trip. You know how it is, 6 friends planning a long weekend. Everyone is excited about the trip, but 0 decisions are being made and nobody's actually doing any booking. Or, worse still, one person has to be in charge of everything, otherwise nothing will get done. There are arguments, people are not quite in sync with themselves. So a normal person will find themselves in endless group chats, getting attitudes like, well, look, whatever works, just send me what the bill is. And then what happens is somebody ends up doing it late in the day. You find yourself booking hotels that are more expensive than you would have initially wanted it to be. And sometimes you find yourself in a resort or a location further than where most of the fun is happening. And it's because there's chaos everywhere. But a PM would think about it and say, okay, let's have a shared document where we all itemize what our budget is, what the schedule is, and what our roles will be. PM would think, okay, we'll divide the task, who is doing what. And PM would think, let's have a voting system to make sure that we objectively agree on the choice. PM would think, let's do this in advance so that we can get the right rates and the best pick of the hotels and the activities that are available in the location. A PM would think, okay, what are the checkout times and how much time do we need to get from A to B or get to the airport? Thinking ahead, being proactive, organizing things. That's how a PM would think about that situation. Guess what? You end up with a trip that is planned out, everyone being responsible for something, no confusion, and you get the right rates and you have, hopefully, a brilliant and good time on your trip. Same friends, same weekend, wildly different outcomes. That's how you think like a PM. This also applies at work. You might be the one in charge of the next away day in your office or the next weekend. Same thinking, planning ahead, coordinating activities, booking rooms in advance, booking a conference space in advance, getting everybody's preference ready, understanding what the preferences are, having a voting system, for people to say what they want at the trip. It might be you're the one in charge of planning the next team lunch. Some people want to eat takeaway, some people want Indian, some people want Chinese, some people just want a regular English breakfast or lunch. Even that requires a plan. If you're thinking like a project manager, you will plan this out in the sequence that I just described and will yield good results. You can use it for your personal day-to-day life. It will make a world of difference and you'll be glad. Here's another scenario. You are in the corporate space this time and you are asked to do a surprise presentation. Your colleague says, "Hey Ola, hey Karisha, can you present this to the leadership on Thursday?" Okay, let's look at it from a corporate perspective. Your colleague calls you up on Tuesday and says, "Hey Ola, hey Karisha, hey Daniel, can you create a presentation and present it to leadership on Thursday?" No notice, no context, and you're being told on Tuesday for a presentation on Thursday. Let's not even talk about whether you should do the assignment or not. But hey ho, let's assume you take it on. Now, a normal person, a normal version of how you would think about that is, sure, no problem, but you're panicking inside. Or you're staring at the screen, you're not sure what to do. Or you go ahead and you're building the slides and you're ending up staying late to 2 a.m. to get those slides completed. And the result? You end up with a confusing presentation, not your best work, and people will wonder, what was this presentation supposed to achieve? Why were we here? Now, if you want to think like a project manager in the same situation, your first reaction to that request would be something like this. So what's the purpose of this slide deck? Who is the audience? What data supports this? You then want to create a timeline from draft to initial feedback to final presentation. PMs don't just create slides, they deliver mini projects in their sleep, easy peasy. So let's walk through another personal use case. Your friend comes up to you and says, "Look, I have this product idea, but I'm not even sure where to get started." A good PM would ask, "So what's the goal? What do you really want out of this product? Sales? Is it a charitable venture? Do you just want to create a buzz?" You want to know the outcome that the individual is expecting from the activity or the product. From the point where you know when the product needs to launch, you will do a backward map to see and articulate all the activities that need to take place before that launch date. You want to break down the task into what is the deliverable, who is the owner, and when does it need to get done, and if there are any dependencies, i.e. if one thing needs to happen before the other thing, you want to be clear about what those activities that are happening in sequence or in parallel are. Then as a PM, you want to check what can delay us completing on time. What are the risks? You want to identify what those risks are. It might be we might run out of funding to make it as good as we want it to be. We might not be able to get a developer to build the product in time. Could be many things, but you want to identify what that risk is and mitigate it. So suddenly it's no longer chaos, it's progress. You are clear. Clarity and progress in terms of what needs to happen next to get us to the launch date. So let's consider another use case. You're in the organization, you're working across 5 work streams. Nobody can agree on the right solution for the proposal, for the system, for the upgrade, or a particular team has a different agenda and so it's making it difficult. Now as a PM, rather than panicking and getting at odds with people, you need to keep it objective. A PM would know that you need to clearly identify what the objective of the project was, remind people of what the scope of the project is, right? And then articulate or speak to all the working groups to understand what the options are for each of the proposed solutions. When you understand what the options are for each of those proposed solutions, the next thing you want to do is also understand the impact of each option, i.e. what's the impact on cost? What's the impact on our timeline? What quality are we going to end up with? And how does that align with the original scope we had? You're going to then do an impact analysis across each option by yourself and with the team. You're not required to do it all on your own. You do it with your team, and then you all collectively and objectively review the options and come up with the recommendations. Sometimes people will still not agree, but that's why you have a sponsor and you have a steering group board or a project board where the final decision will then be made. But you produce all the options, present the options, you provide a recommendation, and then you take the project forward. That's how a project manager will think, because this happens regularly where people cannot decide. Your job is to walk through those options and help people objectively come to agreement on the next way forward. Another scenario would be where you're starting off a project and you miss a critical deliverable of the project. What you want to do is, again, understand the impact of what you've missed and then work with a team to bring it back, bring the project back in line. And sometimes you can't bring the project back in line. You've missed something and you're going to have a delay. Again, it's rebaselining, looking at the project, incorporating what you missed before, and then rebaselining the plan subject to the agreement of your board or your steering group, and then carrying on. Now, to avoid missing people or missing key parts of your project or your deliverable, I've created a template that outlines the key activities you need to make sure you've done at each stage of the project, from your initiation stage to your project planning stage to the execution stage. Even when you are being monitored and controlled, you want to make sure that you have all of those activities in place, and you will be less likely to make mistakes or miss people. If you would like that template, just comment the word template and I'll send it to you, or alternatively look in the description, you'll find the template there. Alright, so we've talked about different scenarios both in your personal life and in the corporate space where you can apply project management. Your assignment or your mission, if you are new to project management, pick one thing this week, one assignment, one activity, and treat it like a project to get it done from beginning to end. So break it down, assign tasks, build a timeline, assign owners, then come back and let me know how it went in the comments below when you've done that. So there it is. If you're not a project manager right now, you don't need to be a project manager, you just need to think like a project manager. And if you're already in the project management space or you're thinking of becoming a project manager, this is the kind of thinking you need to bring to the table on a day-to-day basis to get work done. I'll see you in the next video. If you like this content, don't forget to subscribe and share with a friend, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, by the way, if you have any topic you would like me to talk about, let me know in the comments. If you've had to adapt your style to make your project work better, I'd also like to know what you had to adapt and how it worked out for you. People in the comments might learn something from you, so I'll see you soon. Bye.